Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whatsoever you are, we want to say good morning and good afternoon to the exchange. The exchange is a 1 hour 30 minutes program brought your way every weekend. Today we have in conversations with the outgoing president and vice president of the Liberian Students Association in India. So today we have in conversations with them. They will be telling us what was their challenges, what were their success stories on their past leadership, and what was their experience as well. So some of our panelists are going to be joining us very shortly to see how best we can carry on the podcast here tonight. So notwithstanding, we're going to turn over to uh, our guests in studio today to introduce themselves. That is so that we can get the ball rolling right there. So we're going to turn over to, we're going to start with the vice president. The president was just on. I just hope he come back. Actually having some internet problem. So let's start with the vice president.
Thank you, Elijah. Let me say good evening to everyone joining us. I'm super excited for this opportunity. I want to say hands up to the president here, the former president in studio. I also like to say thanks to you, Elijah, for giving us the opportunity once more. I hope your other panelists can join us as we have a fruitful discussion. I am hoping that the questions that will be asked by you will be answered to the best of our abilities so that it informs also our listening audience and the students. We've not come to boast about anything we've done. We've come to further extend our thanks and appreciation again to the student populace for affording us the opportunity to serve them and to further indicate that we say remain humble in working with the students of India. Thank you so much, and I look forward to a fruitful discussion.
Thank you, Honorable outgoing Vice President Komen Kume. We want to say thank you for accepting our invite as well. So we're going to listen to the outgoing president to introduce himself, then we can get the ball rolling. To our callers, we want to say welcome. Just hit the share button as you go through, as you listen to the show. We also want to say welcome. This is a change. Just keep around. We're going to open the phone line. You're going to call, make your contributions. We know we have already seen a lot of views already. So just stick around. We're going to open the call. So, Mr. President, let me hear you from there. Outgoing president, I don't want to be hearing content.
Okay, Elijah, thank you so much for the show. Let me appreciate you for the level of work. I think the exchange program going 1 year now, and you stay behind it to make sure that you bring the news, the discussion to the people. Let me commend you for that. I'm James T.J. Flomo, former president of the Association of Liberian Students in India. Like my vice president rightly stated, the success history of the association will be said here tonight, not to boast of it because it was a privilege given all to serve. So it is binding on us that we gave to society, we gave to our fellow students, the reason for which we were elected for. We should deliver the task. So I don't think it's something that we will boast of. But we will talk about some of these things and some of the challenges and some of the success history of the organization, what we achieved over the period of time, and where we left the organization, and what we expect to achieve from the organization based on the policy and principle that we lay down. And we look forward to the development and growth of the organization in the next 1 or 2 years to come. So that's it, Elijah. Thank you again. I'm here. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. That was the voice of the outgoing president there, Bob James, speaking to you and introducing himself on today's edition of the show. So we also want to say thank you for following. Also want to say, like the president said, this 1 year in existence now as a change, we always bring play-by-play demonstrations on things that happens within the students community and also around issues affect Liberia as well. So we were just joined by one of our panelists tonight. So he's going to introduce himself. Then from there we're going to jump directly into the discussion tonight. Then we'll hear you from the chief.
Okay. Good evening to everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, of course you are audible.
Hello. Okay. Okay. I'm Alan Deli Yelu from India, studying Management Accounting International Final in LPU, Global Professional University. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, before we go directly into the show or before we go directly to the topics tonight, like the topic say historicity challenges and success stories you guys encountered during your training as president of the associations of library students in India. We'll first want to know how is the students situation, how is the student populations in India, in Punjab, where you currently reside, or India currently? How is everything going on with the students, and how is everything there?
Whose question is it?
Anyone can answer. How is the student populations in India, and how everything is like?
Okay, thank you. Let me respond, then the president will cover up. So once again, we want to say we are grateful to be on this platform to talk about our achievements, our challenges, and the rest of that. So in response to the question, I think the populace, that is the student populace, is doing exceptionally well. And where we left it, it was at a point of serious growth. It was at a point of a serious organization. It is at a point of serious organization or association, and it's fastly growing, getting recognitions in Liberia, in the entire India, in different institutions here in India. And day by day, students keeps coming to India. And as the organization is concerned, whoever is here in India as a Liberian student is the institution's bound duty to advocate and speak for them, even if they identify or not. But the work of the association is to speak and advocate for every student here in India. So owing to the fact that the number of Liberian students are growing on a daily basis, in direct response to your questions about how the membership is like, we like to say the membership is growing, it's fastly growing. There are people going every year and there are people coming. I can also safely say that the number of persons that come per year is more than the number of persons that is going out. So every year or every semester we project that you get more than 50 students coming to join the association. Rough statistics of our previous data stated that we had pretty much close to 500 to 600 students. Those were the ones that participated in our previous and just ended elections. There were some students who are here who did not participate, Their names are not on the roster, but as I said, they are in the number of Liberian students here. So the ones who included their names on the roster and stuff like that, we can safely say we've got about 500 and beyond. And just in a few weeks, the number has grown to more. And approximately, we'll be talking about hitting 800 to 1,000 Liberian students in India. So to end on this note, I'd like to say we left the association in a very strong and solid state, and it's only left to be well managed by the current leadership. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Con. Thank you. We listened to comment, the political comment they're giving is. Am I audible, Con? Am I audible?
Yeah, yes. We can
Good.
hear you very
Thank you
loud.
so much. Yeah, we listened to the vice president there giving a play-by-play illustrations on the well-beings of Liberian students in India and and the rest of them, and the growing populations of the Liberian students in India, how Liberians are migrating into India on a daily basis. So let's look at the angles of the association. Looking at the association that you took over for probably one consecutive school year or one consecutive year in India here. Looking at where you took, because we brought it here some part of last year to tell us where you took the association from. And if I can remember, you told us that the associations were taken over from an interim government that you actually proceeded. So how was this like taking the institution from an interim government and bringing it to this point? What was some of those challenges that comes the way? How things were other like? How do you cope with the students knowing that you have other librarians probably in this place that things everyone think for themselves, everybody do everything for themselves. How do you cope with situations when it comes to issues among Liberian students in India during your region?
Okay, Elijah, thank you so much for the question. And let me begin by answering this way because the association we took it from acting leadership. By then, I used to refer to that acting leadership as one man army uh, because he was serving as president, serving as vice president, serving as financial secretary, with one female general serving as secretary general. By then, so the organization was then managed by two persons, Mohammed Duble and Marama Tuawe. And by then, the Association of Liberian Students in India was associated only in three universities. That is the Lovely Professional, the PCTE, and that was the Louisiana College of Engineering and Technology. There where we met the institution. And then it began diversify where we have to carry on, but then we had not even get into power. When I talk with me, my vice president and all hierarchies, but then as aspiring, canvassing for the presidency, we have to travel roughly in 16 states. But then we travel to your state at the time in Waranga. You can attest to that. And then we begin mobilizing around India to make the students understand that there is this organization that exists called the Association of Liberian Students in India. So we started working even before we can come to power. One. So we had this election, participating in this election was 300 plus voters, and we successfully won the election by the grace of God. At the time, the association, after the transition, the association was in debt. We have to have a successful program where student was not paying a dime towards anything for that program. We provide free accommodation for students. We have to go somewhere to credit money to be able to encourage the students just so that they're able to come together to feel the well-being of being together as Liberian students, as leader taking over. We initiated that with a specific agenda to achieve, because you could see that the Association of Liberian Students in India, absolutely, you could only hear the name and people will boast of the name, but then what we have achieved, you can't see it. People will only say the Association of Liberian Students in India. So why ring a platform that is a social media platform was firstly created by the vice president at the time. He initiated that, sponsored it at the time, and at the time of expiring, not even getting into the vice presidency, sponsor it, start to boost it, and start to go virus, and people start to see this thing. It was based on this thing that we became trusted with the leadership and get over. When we took over, we realized that the association did have a unique database. You can't account for students when they enter here in India today. So what should we do? We should think of having a unique website with an embedded database in it, where our students will be able to register. If a student is in India today in SYZ University, make sure the local leadership there register that particular students, and then we'll have their name within the database. Now, if that is done, we can account for how many students are in Hyderabad, how many students are in Waranga, how many students are in Sandi, how many students in Pony, and the rest of the places. So it was based on the bar draft that we thought it was that, yes, indeed, the association should have a unique website. And that was initiated successfully. We completed it. We have our unique website operating right now as we speak. And then we realized that within a students community, all of people have problem with maybe they don't want to be on the social media like Facebook and all of things. So they want to focus, but then they have to get connected through means of networking and communicating with one another. So we also have the idea that yes, the association can have a community. This community work like a social media platform where you go there, send friend requests, chat with one another, but then it's extra operating. It's not on Facebook. You there, nobody gonna know about you. You can have a private discussion. We can have a group chat there, and we can also use it to get rid of our WhatsApp group chat, because the WhatsApp group chat, we understand that it was challenging where today one person have an issue, they have to create another WhatsApp, take people no more out of there. It was based on that background. We thought it was that we should have the community. We initiated the ASR community. It's operating right now. We completed that. And then the association also needed to be registered as a legit organization. That is, getting an article of incorporation. So we also think in that direction. We say, look, we have to work around to see what to do. Even though students are not paying due, by then students have not even started paying due by the time. So we have to make sure to get the article of incorporation of the Association of Liberian Students in India, which was one of our major achievement in campaign message that we talk to the people. So we have our article of incorporation. It was completed and done. We have it right now. The organization is legally registered as an organization operating here in India. And then one criteria that require a foreign organization being registered in India has to do with having a unique office space. That's one criteria. So we were able to lobby with a college to be able to locate a unique office there for us that the association have permanent. So the association will be using that as well with the current leadership as one of the prerequisite to the registration or profiling the organization here to be a legal organization in India, where we'll have our own bank account open. People will no longer pay money in someone else's account for operation of ALSR. It will directly go into the account of ALSR, which is already in let me say which is already in progress right now. And we have taken from 3 schools. Now the association we can boast of 52 universities and colleges per our database and statistic given us. So we have about 52 universities and colleges. Imagine when we were talking about only 3 universities at a time. Now we're talking about 52, and the number keep growing. And we also raise the budget of the association. Elijah, it was surprising to hear that we were running a government where people are not paying due, but one way or the other we could improvise. From the background of education, we as teachers, we use that word called improvise. We were able to love it around. You won't believe that ALSR expenditure, ALSR total expenditure when after my financial team work this week to submit to me our funders expenditure and spending for the entire fiscal year, you will observe that ALSR revenue were able to reach around 3 lakh. Elijah, you won't believe this. These are money that were raised from among us. Someday I will call the vice president. He will have to empty his account. Someday I will have to improvise. Someday we'll have to ask well-wisher and students to do this thing together.
Yeah, Mr. President. Yeah, we listened to you talking about your agenda by the time and how you try achieving some of these things that was on your agenda during your campaign messages that you talk about. But one of the major things that was embedded and that people or the Liberian students see that it was very necessary and was one of your major campaign messages was the issue of negotiating the Liberian governments and the Liberian students here when it comes to the issue of the embassy issue in Liberia, in India here, because that's one issues that Liberians here are actually faced with when it comes to documentations. People have to send that document, but how did you achieve that? Was that achieved? If yes, what are the progress? Or it is a progressive, it is in a progressive form, or what can you say to that? Because we have not heard any of that. That was one of the major that's the campaign measures.
Yeah, let me talk about the issue of the consulate office. We wrote a series of communication to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Ministry of Education, the Liberal Senate, and the House of Representatives, as well as the Minister of State Presidential Affairs. The Minister of State Presidential Affairs. We push the case of our consulate issues. We reach to a point where the foreign minister has to appear on a live interview to speak to this issue in the Liberal Senate. After they spoke about this, the SONA that was announced this year, the President SONA, he may mention the issue of a service center in the meantime as agreed upon, because they couldn't designate a consular general here by then because the government is not prepared. They are going into election according to the negotiation. The announcement was made. After this announcement was being made, the program was directly between VSF Global and the government of Liberia. And then we took upon ourselves to visit the office of VSF Global to see how the negotiation and how the Liberian government went in to deal with it. So we realized that there were some administrative issue in government thing that we will not talk on this platform that make the service center to pause its operation until that have been settled from back home with our Liberia government. So we were told that the operation will not start immediately. There are some administrative issues that we face with between the Liberia government and BSF Global. So until that is being settled, we will not do this. So upon receiving this communication, we communicated with the government of Liberia through the Minister of Foreign Affairs. When we spoke with the Foreign Affairs Minister, he said, yes, it is true, it is highly administrative, but right assured before this year go to an end, you people will have a Chancellor General. So there where we left, and we will be turning over to where we stopped with the negotiation to our current leadership that just taking over the association right now. Yes.
Yeah, good, Mr. President. I overheard you talking about removing the official group chat, which is a WhatsApp group chat, to a website. How do you see that possible, and how do you think that is going to be much comfortable for the students logging into a particular site just to have access to messages and then chat with other people, where they find it very much easier to do their communications, their voice recording, their messages on the WhatsApp, and then taking the entire WhatsApp messages and then migrating it directly to another website. And how can you do you mind explaining to us how would that
Yes.
work? Is there anything that it will be payable probably per month in using the site, because you know that some of these sites are once you log in or you have your own login or your own portal, at the end of the day you can pay something. Would that be payable or is absolutely free?
Okay. Elijah, first let me say the ALSR community is actually free of charge, number one. The reason why we have to consider this decision of creating the ALSR community to a Google site where people should have a unique ID that you can access through Google is because of the crisis we experienced from Ukraine. Now there was a crisis in Ukraine where people lost their phone. And if you definitely lost your phone, you don't have access to your WhatsApp any longer. There can be times sometimes you see that WhatsApp will stop and it won't operate at all. Okay, I able to be on the road. I have a friend somewhere that maybe I come across and he have a phone with internet. So I able to log in on that Google site, enter my unique ID with password, and directly go into the community and be able to post information within the community to give information about myself. We are living in a modern world now. So these are ideas and innovation that we were thinking beyond when we brought the issue of having the ALSR community. However, we are not definitely getting rid of the WhatsApp group chat totally, no. It is an alternative group chat. Both are working. You can go to the community, you use it, and you can also come to the WhatsApp, you use it as well. Yeah, so we are not getting rid of the WhatsApp totally, but that's the reason why we decided to have the community as a Google site. For this reason, because we are living modern era. You never know what will happen at any point in time. Yes.
Thank you very much. If you are following us, we want to say welcome to the exchange. We hope to be joined shortly by our correspondents in Liberia, the YMCA radio stations, to carry this podcast on a live basis. So we hope to join in. Whatsoever you are this hour, we want to say welcome, Ibrahim Valley Kamara. We want to say welcome. You should have been on the show tonight. I don't know. But we want to say welcome, Chief. I will try to give my co-panel a chance to see if we have one or two questions for our guest tonight.
Okay, Mr. Former President, when you were talking, my internet actually giving problem, but I don't know whether the question I'm about to ask, if you actually throw light on it. But my question has to do with the coming of students in India, and when you were president, we believe that there are a lot of students who came to India with misinformation back home to their parents, and because of this, some of them came and they went back. And the information those people are going back with to Liberia is actually things that are going to reflect on our association here. So we have some group of people here in India who just talk to people, parents, and then bring students. And at the end of the day, the student cannot afford because they never give the student or that particular individual the proper explanation of the situation going here when it comes to rent, when it comes to school fees, when it comes to your living condition here in India. And if the person comes, if they get different information from Liberia and then they come to see different information here, at the end of the day, it will be how and then it will end up going back. So, during your region, I want to know whether there are some criteria put into place to stop those things so that our association name can be secure from those things, or it just been that and up till now, I don't know whether there are some things that have been put into place. So I don't know whether you explained it when you were talking, like I said, my internet actually gave me problem.
All right, thank you, Junior brother Alan Yelu. Welcome on the show. Thank you again for the questions asked, and I will speak to that shortly. Alan, the issue that has to do with students misleading one another, giving them false information about study in India, 100% scholarship. At the end of the day, if the students comes, they don't see what you talk about. It is one of the serious challenges that we face as government. And then you observe that we made mention of this in our turning overload. I took further step to limit the issue of this misinformation given the students. I have a meeting with the Minister of Education, Minister D. and Susoni. We discussed about the issue of the letter of attestation should be very serious and cardinal, with the agreement that we will have a bill recommend to this new leadership with the information of the Association of Liberian Students in India on it. If a student happen to get his or her visa today when they get at the airport, you get a QR code there, you scan, and they get information. One of these information also will be placed to the embassy, the Indian embassy, right? If you get there, you read. If you scan the code, you will directly get in touch with somebody from India, from the leadership, and then they will be able to talk to you what you're coming for and which university. Because not only the information of giving false, let me say, not only the issue of giving false information to students, we realize that there are some accredited universities that are not accredited in India. So people will lie to the children, they will come there. At the end of the day, you observe that the university or college is not up to task. So students will start to feel bad and then go back. So we also put some of these issues into place, and we also mention it within our recommendation portion of our turning overload that these are recommendations that the new government should see reason that those universities that are accredited and authentic should be placed on the ALSR website. If you're looking for authentic university to get your admission there, you visit it. And then the new leadership with a recommendation also that they should also appear on various platforms like the state radio and other radio stations within the country to talk about the issue of study in India and be able to find remedy about this fraudulent act so we can get rid of it. We placed some, we started the negotiation, we try to reduce it, even though we intervened in some of those cases that came before us, but not totally all together. It was not sufficient to be able to eradicate it from in the system. So this is why we have a strong recommendation. Yes, Adam.
Mr. Former President, I always like to call him Mr. President. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
something I want to get clear, like when when it comes to the issue of student having their passport right before getting in connection with ALS, I don't think we can turn it around like getting in connection with all the schools, because I believe that most of the schools in most of the universities and colleges in India, our students are there and we have connection with them as the association leaders, as I'm saying. So I don't think it will be necessary enough that we get connection with those schools, that any other students that apply to that school or pass through another person in that they apply to that school, the person be directed to the association. Because like if I having to be in Liberia and I pay money to the school in India, I get my visa, me say I get my acceptance letter, I'll pay another money to get passport, pay money to get visa before getting connected to the association to know the proper information about the association. And we think it will be another breakdown to the student that's coming, because after the students you have spent 1,005, 2,000 or 1,000 United dollars and coming back to know the total in and out of what happened in India. Don't you think it will be another breakdown to the individual?
No, Alan, did you hear me say if you go for your letter of attestation, this is one reason students are getting it wrong here. Before you get your Indian visa, you need to have a letter of apostolate from the Foreign Affairs Ministry. If you have your apostolate letter, be a self-sponsored scholarship or government scholarship, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs will definitely know that XYZ students took apostolate letter from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So they are aware of your living and your information is in the ministry. Let's go to education. If you have your letter of attestation from the Ministry of Education, education will know that yes, XYZ number of students are out for study. Now, these are mechanisms that, like I told you, was discussed with the minister as well as the assistant minister at Donald Greece at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, down to the Passport Division Center. So we made all of these recommendations that the billboard of the association should be placed to those places. If you happen to go for your visa or acquire those documents, it should also be there that you be able to read and get your information on one. And two, we are also in communication with the embassy to make sure that letter of attestation and apostolate letter should be one of the cardinal things that the Indian government should look at before granting anyone a visa, so that it be able to help the Liberal government to track down total number of students leaving from the country. And we proposed this to the minister accepted this thing. That's what I said. So we will not wait until you happen to get your visa, everything, then before you get to read about the information about the association. No.
Hello.
Okay, Mr. President, my last question. My last question on this visa issue. Once they want to come to India, have to do it. Like we observe that there are most students, people that bring students in India, they actually do it because they want to get what we call commission. So
Yeah.
if the association having to get in contact with those people that come in India, will those students who bring students to India, will they get their commission, or will there be anything between the association and this individual bringing student? I don't know.
Okay,
Because I can remember doing the inaugural program when this thing come out, these are things that students are saying. So if students come in India, if I bring my student and the association having the interview, they'll take my commission, or maybe they will not get all my commission, or I don't really know how that part going to be handled.
Now this is what if you listen to the president elect, if you listen to his inaugural speech, he said every agency that are processing students to India will be vetted by the education department and be given a valid lesson. And the ministry is aware of this thing. We started from the Ministry of Education before bringing it here. So it's not a formality. So if you have your agency bringing students here, you will be vetted by this government, the educational department, and then you're going to get your 1 year lesson from the ministry, let me say from the Committee on Education. So if you have your lesson, if a student is coming under your agency, and we observe that your agency have, let me say the students have problem with XYZ University, the association will call you, say, hey, Mr. Yelu, we observe that we observe that this particular school have problem. So we don't want you to process the students in this particular school. Can they do a due diligence by changing the person's school to give them the rightful information? So that communication will be directly spoken to you as a agent or director of that particular agency. So not for the association to go into extra deal with the students that is coming to make the processor of that students to not get their commission. No, that is not what we are saying. We are only doing
Okay.
it to guard the process to make sure that thing goes well. That's all.
Okay. We want to say thank you very much. Wheresoever you are joining all this time, we want to say thank you ever so much. We was just joined by our correspondent from Liberia, Jackson. Jackson will say welcome on the show. I think the show is currently live on the YMCA radio station. Jackson, welcome. Jackson, we are not getting you. Just have to unmute. We are not getting you, Chief. Say. I think Jackson is facing some issues that we are not getting, but we can rest assured you that the show is live on the YMCA radio station. Jackson, there's our correspondent from Liberia. So I want to say welcome wheresoever you are. I want to ask the Vice President on this issue, Mr. Vice President, outgoing Vice President. I don't want to be here in contempt because tomorrow we'll be here again with the current president. I mean, you can tell me what I say in error. Okay, no problem. The charge now come to you.
I'm already out. I'm already out. Again, just add a 4 month to it. And they say once a vice president is always a vice president. So to some extent, you're not held in contempt. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, Mr. Former Vice President, I want to know because after the elections, everything there was some disenchanted Liberians. I mean, by them, I'm not saying the past election. The past elections will be spoken about by the current president and vice president elect. During that time, how do conquer the issues of reconciliations? Because in every elections, be it elected or not, there should be some level of misfeeding, some level of disenchantments that will definitely occur. How did you guys came about covering that? How did you get over it?
Are you referring to the elections that brought us to power, or just in the elections that we spearheaded?
I'm speaking about the election that brought you to power. How did you, come about, getting away with some of these misleadings, some disenchantments within the Liberian community, and what was the success story of putting all the Liberians together under one umbrella to achieve the goal that you guys have achieved?
Thank you. Let me again reintroduce myself for the sake of the fact that we are live on YMCA radio and for the fact that I also went off air due to some issues with my phone. My name is Paul Mepolo Kumang, and I'm super excited to be on the show. So fast forward to the questions. I think it's, I don't know. I think I want to say that question is somehow, I don't want to use the word belated, because we have come to a point where we are all the way at the end of our leadership. But again, just as I stated in my introductory statement, that the association is currently running strong in every elections, especially student elections and every democracy. There will always be issues of search, issues such as I was cheated or this was that, the people insulted me, and all those stuff will always occur and come after elections period, right? So what is important is that the leader or whoever is chosen, the ability of that person to reconcile and unify everyone. So talking about some of the activities we held, the programs we had, the progress we made, how we were possibly able to conquer some of those things is that we were aware that there were people who were disenchanted. Some people felt that they were never apart. As I speak now, I stated that the association is currently strong And I also stated that there are some people yet who involve activities of the association, either on grounds that they don't want to get involved with librarian issues, or they don't have much information about the association, or just that they are not informed, or they just pay less attention to some issues. So there are still some people who are yet to know about this association, but on the majority scale, a lot of people have heard about the association, even those who had issues, that there were problems. I mean, those problems were sorted out. We worked with those people. So we were two parties that went to the elections, and after that, through the course of our workings, we had a good and cordial relationship with our counterpart. Mr. Abraham Vade Kamara on several occasions welcomed some of the ideas we put forth, even though as opposition they had the responsibility to remain critical, which they were. But at some point in time, and most point in time, we got them involved in the activities. For instance, if you went to LCET, we were trying to do this due collection thing for the website process, and Mr. Abraham Vade Kamara was appointed by the president to spearhead that collection. He did. You know, several other things were done. The entertainment committee was from the beginning, the get-go. We thought it was to put it in the hands of Mr. Isafa Tabe, who was then the chairman of the RRM party. They organized the entertainment, and we went. We went on. So all this was geared toward was us having a collaboration with our colleagues. All that was geared toward bringing our colleagues on board. Mind you, after elections, we sent invitations to them and gave them an offer of appointment of some of their partisans, even though they have rejected based on their own decisions. But we reached out and it was fruitful. At the end, we had a fruitful leadership. It was wonderful. So as I speak, there are still some people who are party indulgent, especially in the student politics. In India, in the student community, we have two outstanding political parties. We have some in RRM. There are some people who have designated themselves, no matter what, to be diehard fans of RRM. Some are diehard fans of some. So those people, you can share your ideology with them. You will have a good friendship outside. You will talk. But when it comes to them supporting you, maybe considering you as their leader, they usually have issue with that. But we work with them, and we were able to reconcile people through sports. We were able to reconcile people through some of the activities, intellectual activities we organized, and some got together we did. Sometimes we called people personally and we talked to them, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful whole year that we spent together. I can safely say everyone was totally happy based on how we led. There were some people who we can say had issues, and those issues were important to them. To some extent, those issues we could explain them, and we could have reasons for why they were angry or some of those reasons. But again, it's usual and it's always happens in any democratic system. So that's simply what I can say to that question.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Vice President. At least you elaborated excellently because you were saying, oh, that person is belated. Because you see, from what you are going to say, the incoming leaders will actually use it as a yardstick to see how best they can also conduct themselves and conduct the librarian students. Because, mind you, we are all from different backgrounds, you know, breathe differently, we came out differently, and all these things happen. But it was good that you guys were able to conquer most of these things. But one thing I want to know, one thing that drew my attention on the show when I listened to your president there, the former president, that is James Flomo, talking about most of the fundraisings, getting into website building, getting into this, getting into that, understanding the scope of Liberian students in India, especially when it comes to students where we are not working, we are not doing anything. How did you guys think about generating funds to sponsor some of these things? Because building a website, I probably not a website builder, but I understand it requires some money. And running some of these programs, like outdoors activities, doing this, printing objectives, doing this, and getting the organization together would definitely require some funds. and the outgoing president make us to
Yeah, sure.
understand that the outgoing president make us to understand that there was no due payment at all by students, and so it drew my concern. How did you guys came about with the entire process of raising form? How the form actually came about?
Elijah, that's why we call
Well, thank you,
innovation.
Elijah. And as the topic of this show is men, Mr. President, you want to respond? Let me just and then you'll come in.
Yeah,
Okay. So, as the topic of the show is clearly stated, talking about the challenges, way forward, and the rest of that, we can safely say that was one of the challenges in every institution, especially student institutions. There will be challenges of funding, you know. So that could be, and that was one of our major challenges. You most of the time hear the president say, my vice president and I did this. And usually sometimes I don't like to always have him say that because what we did, we saw it like, okay, me just giving 50 rupees to a process. I wasn't hoping that that 50 rupee was going to be taken into consideration, but it was maybe being sent for other transportation to do something, but it was going towards a purpose, you know. And he also stated, and if you also see the report that was being made, every dime we collected from students was being captured. So in response to how we generated funds, we start based on innovation, wrote communications to several other students. So, for instance, I did a website um, design or interface, right? I did it based on how we wanted it to be. I did it, sent it to a company, and they saw that, and they gave us an invoice of their payment plan. They gave us a budget or a price, not a price. They gave us an amount of 80,000 rupees at then. I think 85 something more, which is pretty much around $1,000 US. You know, so when they send that amount to us, what we thought is that we cannot generate this money from one student pocket, or even no politician is going to help us. But what we can do is that there are about 300 students here. So can we request each student to pay at least 300 rupees? So if you are calculating 300 rupees by maybe 200 students, you'll be getting good sum of money. Our intention was to get 80,000. So what we did, we wrote communications. We wrote communication to almost almost everyone. The secretary was working on that. I want to be sure not everyone would even receive communication, but we wrote institutions communications. We also wrote a communication, generalizing and posted it in the group chat, and then we sent it to some individuals. From that communication, there were students who were able to contribute the minimum of $300, 500 rupees, just that amount. So that amount also was able to be added to what we contribute as individuals. And that's why the president currently deserves to be where he is, because beyond the scene, he also supported a lot. Behind the scene, he supported a lot. So sometimes we were having financial crisis, we call him, oh ma'am, this is it, we need to do this, we need to do this. And he said, okay, I'll give 10,000 rupees. And 10,000 rupees in India, that's what in, bro. We're talking about 150 and above. The president, when the guys call him, no, we need to do this, the president will give 5,000 and this and that. So there are people who contributed. Mr. Ibrahim Fadi come out here on the show. I think he contributed 500 rupees. Other people in I can mention they contributed 500 rupees and so based on innovation, we thought to reach out to people for little or more to see how best we can all get it from different. So, and for me personally, I think that's a very simple way and easy way to generate money. If you guys are about 50 persons, you need to generate $500. Just request each person to send at least 20 or 30 rupees. Like that, they feel is not much to do it, but with constant engagement with them, I mean, they help and they do it. As of now, the institution is not paying due, and I personally can say, and I stressed that in one of our meetings, is that not every student have this Google Pay thing or Paytm. It's not working for everybody. So the aspect of getting due payment effective is yet to be very much calculated and studied. So it's important to pay dues, but it's not also working because or the very environments we are and the kind of locations we are in before you have somebody to go into give you another deal. Let's take for instance, if you want to say, as the president for the university, I should go collect deal for everybody. We all stay in different locations. It's tough. It's a huge task. Sometimes somebody may not want to have leave their classes and or their school activities and go to people's house for collection. If you also want to see people do it online, not everybody have the online payment. So it is still yet a skeptical thing, a difficult thing to see how best people can get to pay dues. But what I can safely say is that when these things are happening, when we need these kinds of support, we just reach out to students individually, and sometimes with their goodwill students or goodwill, they decide to give, and that's how we were able to get at that point of generating money for the website. The president contributed immensely. I did a minimum contribution. I can't remember how I contributed. The current president did a lot, and some of the students did a lot. Thank you.
Thank you ever so much. Abraham Valley Camara Jr. just joined us. So Abraham is going to introduce himself shortly, and then if you have one or two questions, you can come in from there. Abraham, I want to say welcome today on the show. We are having with us our brothers who run the association for probably a year, and today they are here telling us about their success stories and challenges faced during that journey of their leadership in India. That's a very great thing. Abraham, let me hear you from there.
Thank you, Dr. And thanks to all of them and our panelists. My name is Abraham Valley Kappa, and I'm from Kunadu Town Hospital, Mozambique, in the district of County. The topic we have today, our talking point, has to do with the historic arrangements and success story. So this platform that one thing that I also as to unify that this particular leadership aims to unify Liberians against the history about. So I want to commend the leadership for that. The leadership headed by His Excellency James. And one thing I also note that what about having a general that is all members students in India. And to our guest, I want to just bring this. Probably I want to learn what was behind, because I think we've been doing some recommendations, but it did not materialize. So what was the idea beyond the issue of not having a general meeting for the members of the association, but unless we have what was the behind?
Abraham is coming distorted, and I hope if anyone heard him, they can kind of repeat the question.
Yeah, I think Abraham is facing some network problem here. Abraham, are you audible? Hello, Abraham?
Am I audible?
Yes, you. I think you are much better. Let me hear you from there.
Yeah, quickly, I was saying that the leadership headed by His Excellency actually being supposed to unify in India. But I saw challenges like general meeting where all why is it they not gather physically or gather online, and then the leadership will come out with talk about the issue of women and talk about all right. I did not actually. That's what I. So what was the one that a general meeting for the entire students in India? What was the idea behind that?
Okay, I don't know if the president is ready to respond to that.
But did you get the
so
question? I struggled
yeah,
in getting the question.
I got the question. He's asking what was the idea. He first of all commended us for unifying the student populace through sports That's one of the things he said we did unify through sports, and that's right. He also said what was the idea behind us not having general meeting for all the students. My response to that, the president will add to that, is that there was no idea behind why we did not have a general meeting. But what we thought is that, and we did organize meetings for institutions. So what we did and thought was, it's easier to reach out to a larger school. For instance, you are in Waranga. What the school name? Okay, whatever your school name is. Let me bring it back to him. Abraham Vade Kamara. Your school is in LCET. We think it's going to be much more unique and easy, not much of a time consuming, to have a meeting with only the students of LCET, at which point in time we're going to have less number, we'll understand ourselves, and then people will ask more of questions they want to have. That was the idea on how we decided to reach out to the student populace. We did that. We sent out several communications. We did inform every institution ahead of time, maybe a week even before, through written communications, that we were about to organize a meeting with them. Some of those institutions, we don't want to mention name, did not honor the invitation, as in they wanted bureaucracy, like especially the leadership of some of the institutions will say the meeting should be held with only the leadership of the president and the vice president and the secretary before going to the student populace. And sometimes we saw that those were challenges. As we've come to talk about the challenges, we are the head of the students. If you recognize us as president and vice president and central leadership of the association, there should be no issue why we want to organize meeting with the students. But some of the institutions will say they want to hear what we want to tell the students first because they are there before going to have general meeting with them. Was it right? They will have their opinion to that, but we thought that going to have meeting with the student was important. Did we succeed in organizing meeting with some of the student universities? Yet, yes, we did. Several other of them, they honor our invitations. We organized meeting with them. Our message went across. And that's how you see that all the occasions we have, the mini convention, the just annual occasion, and several other ones when we talk to contribution, those institutions wholeheartedly and happily and joyously contributed because we were talking to them behind the scene. We were having meetings with them and they were getting the message and they were getting the struggles and they were being aware of the struggles the association is going through. If there was a meeting here with LCD, I was not a part of it because sometimes we are all students. We've got some busy schedules and stuff like that. The president will speak on some other issues about maybe he had personal motive why we did not organize a general meeting. But I think we did that by reaching out to universities individually or individual universities, which we thought in our mind would be much more unique and would give us the benefit of the time. Mr. President?
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Vice President. And also, let me recognize the presence of the ALSRPs. There's a feedback from, I don't know, someone maybe. Yeah. So, let me recognize the presence of our peace ambassador on this platform tonight, His Excellency Abraham Vadi Kamara, a humble young man that is well respected in the students' community, who is serviceable and always available at all times to the students. Mr. Vadi Kamara, I want to say welcome. The issues that has to do with why we didn't organize a general online meeting is that we made mention of decentralization in government. The decentralization aspect has to do with crafting down a viral sector based on states and university to be able to achieve our goal in terms of disseminating information to fellow students. That's number one. And we also communicate with students in the general group chat through a written communication, the general public. That was one idea. So the decentralization method that we use to have the association to where it is today from all sectors and states in India, that's just the method we were using. Not that we have personal motive why we couldn't have a general meeting in a general group chat where we say this is a general meeting where everybody from India have to be adjusted on the platform, maybe making a decision. But in a nutshell, or all the way around, we can also say we have a general meeting as well, because we have a organized group which we refer to then as a provincial executive. Within that chat room, you have every president from every universities. So if we call for meeting, various president will represent their states and college or university within that particular meeting. So by doing that, and the information reaching to the students' body, I think there's no need that we should have a general meeting where every single student have to be there. When we already have the leader, and that's the function of that local executive to be able to reach out to their various students and things. So these are methods particularly that we use. Yeah, Mr. Kamara.
And to further comment on that further, let's be real. Um, the chat room is available to everyone, but it's not everyone who follows the chat room on a daily basis. So, for instance, if you did a meeting link and drop it in the chat room, not so many people are going to see it. We are one of the few persons that are regularly active in our group chat. Take it for example, this live feed we are already currently doing, the link was shared in our group chat. Check how many students from AOSI is following. You will not find so many people following. But it's not that they are not part of the association or they don't do it. So what we thought is that instead of having a general meeting and putting in the group chat, a lot of people will not attend. But if we go to the university, it's easier. Every university have a unique chat room for themselves. For instance, Chandigarh University, we have our chat room. I know we have about 22 persons there now. So if information drops in our 22 persons chat room, and the president of that group is saying, guys, we have a meeting with the president of the association today. People who want to listen, they will easily find it to come and listen. So that was our means of reaching out to students instead of having a general meeting. Was it important to have a general meeting? Yes, of course, but we use another meeting that the president rightly stated, a decentralization mentor to be able to reach out to students, and it worked for us. We also had a mini convention, the convention which we adopted the Constitution, and the Constitution provides for that we should have a convention where people will come together and we have report and other things are done, and that was done. So I don't want to say there's anything that was left out that was bigly not achieved. Thank you.
So,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hello.
One minute,
Hello.
1 minute, Mr. Kamara. Mr. Kamara?
Yeah, so, yeah, Mr. President, once a president, always the president, right? So, a
Yeah,
follow up to that, because you
I
talk
have
about
a question.
decent,
I have a question for
right?
you. I have a question.
No, Mr. Yeah, Mr. President, Mr. Outgoing President, I don't want to be hearing contempt. I told you. So let us know, Mr. Kamara. They ask me a follow-up questions to that.
Okay, Mr. Kamara.
There's a follow up. Yeah? We talk about decentralization. So, you just decentralization. So let's, for instance, mention that we have students in India.
Abraham, you have to look at your. Hello. Are you getting Abraham? Abraham, you're having some serious network problem. Abraham, you are coming
Okay, here. Okay, here.
Yeah, Abraham, we are having some serious network problem. No way, you are not audible, Chief. Your internet is like off and on. We hope you get that straighten up and then you can get up back on the show. Hello, Abraham. Wow. Abraham is making a point there,
Hello.
asking some questions. So as we are going closer to time, as time is man's best enemy, we are actually here today in discussions with our algorithm leadership in India. Here, if you are following up by the radio link, that is by the YMCA radio station. Then we ask Jasmine to open the phone lines to get callers. If you are also following up by Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, you are also allowed to make call on the number pinned on the dot there. So we hope to get Abraham back. But before then, what we want to know, what is your hope for the association as you are leaving, as you are already leave the association today, or whatsoever when the
I think that
inaugurations were
I
here?
think I
What
think
is
that
your
question
own
should be
hope
the
for?
last question before we leave.
Yeah, okay, okay. Adam also, okay, come in, Chief. Ask.
Yeah, I think that question should be the last question before we leave. I my question has to do with like we have a lot of representatives from the various schools, and those guys were in the hall with you guys that were presiding or that were leading us for the past year. And I noticed that there was two parties that we said there are two parties that we have, and we have some oppositions in the house. So, in terms of decision making, in terms of working with those people, how you guys come about going about passing over those bridges and see and making a better decision for the association? Because even if you talk about coming with this idea, we know even in national politics there will always be opposition, or there will always be yes the opposition to say something contrary. He or she think like also had the mentality that this would be best for us to, or from a party or for the association. So how you gonna cope with those guys or those opposition are in the hall, in the parliament that you guys are working with? Because I know to run the association, more especially student association, having opposition in the parliament when it comes to decision making actually burden. So how you guys are cope with those situations?
Well, Ali, I must be real with you. Um, that it was not all rosary. Just like you said, oppositions are always opposition. They've got a responsibility. The only thing I can safely say is that in a student environment, and what I think the mistakes that were being made by some of those guys is that they try to copy everything that is happening in national politics and want to bring it to student politics. You know, so they copy exactly what is happening in the national politics and bringing it to student politics, but they are not also looking at what national politics or the national government benefits or okay, someone is having a feedback that is giving me talk. I'm hearing myself, I don't know who. Can someone mute? I'm hearing myself and I'm not going to talk when I'm Justin, can you kindly okay. You want to take a call? I can hear myself. I'm getting a very terrible feedback. I don't know. I'm getting myself. Justin will have to turn off his mic. Okay, I think it's okay
Yeah,
now. It was Justin.
I just mute Justin because I think it's having some troubleshoot there with the mixer because we tried to fix that before it was giving some problem. The mixture there, I think it's having some problem. The program
Oh
is
yeah,
actually live, but the issue is to get the call. Whenever they open the line there to get caller from Liberia, sometimes we really face difficulties with that. We've been trying to
He
work
has
on
to,
it.
he has to do one thing. He has to do
Okay.
one thing. Let him not monitor. In the studio, usually there's a monitor there that comes out that plays out everything that is heard, right? So let him lower the monitor and only use the headphone that he has, and then he can use the phone. Because if the monitor is on, as I'm speaking, my voice will be coming through the microphone when he opens the microphone. So he has
Okay.
to off the or lower it
So
that it doesn't bring any. So
yeah, we hope you try to work on that. We really hope that.
if in trust that it's
So
gonna work, unless
yeah. So
so I was in flight. I,
you are
I was in flight with
you
a
are
question.
okay.
Yeah. So the question was how do we manage with the parliament members? And I was saying that those guys saw themselves as people who were in national government, forgetting to know that this is a student government. You know, so they forgot on several occasions they will want to compare the functions and workings of the student government to the national government. That's one mistake I think they made. And I can also safely say that because of the issue about me being an opposition, I want to be critical, they forgot the essence of the workings and ignore a lot of things that could have been possibly done in a better way to just say, I want to have an opinion about this. And my opinion is I rejected this, even if it was necessary or not, you know. But as leaders, we
Yeah.
thought it was necessary to listen to them.
Come on. Let me hold you there quickly. There's a questions that just pop up from the chat room. Here is that chat room. I think we have to deal with it very fast. The question is why let me get it quickly. Just be online. Let me get it. Okay. Am I audible?
Very audible.
Good. He said the question is why the treasurer and the financial secretary was not included in the government, instead prefer working with the SG. Why?
Well, the person who says that could have their own reason of why they ask the question. And what we can say, we think that's just a perception. The financial secretary was included in the government. The treasurer was included in the government. The secretary was included in the government. Even the assistant secretary was included in the government. We are all students. People can have issues personally with their own workings and their own schedules. So we as leaders who understand that if this man not able to attend meeting today, he's out doing his assignment or something. We're not paying him. You know,
But
they were
come on.
the only thing
Yeah,
we
yeah.
had to do.
Let
The only
me.
thing we had
Yeah.
to do. No, the only thing we had to do was to send them citation for meeting, encourage them to do their work. If they fail
Yeah.
to do their work, it doesn't mean that the association does not enter, does not run. You know, so
Honorable,
the
President.
people, the question or the name of people who were mentioned cannot come on this platform and said they were trusted by the leadership. As a matter of fact, we worked with them. They were consulted. Unless they fail to do it, if they can come and say that they failed the student, then they can say it. But what we know is that we worked with them. Every other person was working. Like the secretary usually wants the day-to-day activity of any institution. So why would somebody say you don't want to work with the secretary? We have to do more work with the secretary. Besides, there's not much money coming into the association. So what role do you want to have the treasurer playing when there's not money coming? What role do you want the finance secretary to play when there are not money coming? The finance secretary has a record of the money that he collected during the programs, and every time he had to collect money, he has a record of that. So the person who is speaking or asking the question, I don't know if they are speaking from any informed source, but what we can say is that every other person was working, and then sometimes people shy away from their duties and responsibilities. It's on them. It's left with society to judge us.
Thank you for your response to that questions. Like I was saying, we are actually running out of time. We have probably like 10 more minutes to go. We cannot be here off and on the issues. Tomorrow we also be here with the current president and the vice president elect, speaking on issues surrounding the association as well. So as time is not our friend, we want to know what is your hope for as you are turning over, and
But
where you want to
Elijah,
see where you want to see the associations in the next 1 year again.
Elijah, we are guests. So if the people ask questions, you should allow your guests to speak. And why it's true that we run it all the time, but at least the guests should be able to speak to those questions, at least for the benefit of the audience.
Okay, sorry, Mr.
And then,
President, because I think
and then
I
we come
sorry,
there,
sorry.
and then we come there because the perception that people have why it is that we didn't work with the secretary. Let me say we were working with we were not working with the name mentioned. How can you say we run an organization then we abandon the continuous position that is very essential to the organization that we say they don't work? So then who do financial report if we don't work with the financial secretary? Who do how do we do what we call accountability if we don't work with the treasurer? So these are all perception. Maybe that's how people feel and they want to talk it that way. And then Mr. Yelu also talked about the issues that has to do with opposition and some of those things that the witness as a students and what they saw and that we experienced. But the vice president tried to dive into some, and then another question came in to take him on track. But let me come there. You see, the functioning of ALSR is quite different from national government. And you observe that there were so many challenges, wherein you observe that people will refer to themselves as opposition, who will be in parliament. Absolutely every single thing that has to do with the beneficiary of the students, they will question it and they will have problem with it with no input absolutely, only in the need that they are an opposition. But then in leadership, we have something they call creativity and innovation. So we use that method of creativity and innovation to be able to, let me say, to be able to conquer some of those problems, to handle it, and build the system to successfully reach to this area that we are today. It was not an easy task. How is not going to be our innovation goal come first and a strong working tie with the vice president and other officials of government? We're going to do any other thing for the students because people were absolutely taking this thing to be a national government. Even to the extent, it was surprising that to the extent that former parliament members had to extend themselves from attending an inauguration program, the association inauguration program, where you have a title on you that you should be able to turn over power that you are aware of, mandated from the constitution. So we experienced some of these things, but it's good that the students themselves saw it. It's good that Alan themselves saw it with them eye. They're going to speak for us tomorrow as history, because everything we should not take it as opposition or classify it to be a politics. It should not be so. So these are recommendations that
Okay.
will be making to the students' body as well.
So yeah, Mr. President, this question is directly proportional to the outgoing vice president. And Mr. Vice President, you have like maybe 1 minute to respond to that question. The question is, looking at the leadership structure in every democratic process, that way the vice president should be the one taking over when the president is leaving the term of the office. But how did the party came to a conclusion where a member or members of the party is now becoming the president? Is that the vice president did not meet the criteria of becoming the president, or were there any, let's say, parliamentary proceeding that brought another members of the party being the next president?
Well, thank you. And I hope I will use 1 minute to respond. But it's not a moral or legal right or legal statement, as you put it, that the vice president is usually to succeed the president. It's not in any scientific law. It usually happens with interest. It usually happens with determination. It usually happens with the political career ahead. It's not that I am not qualified. I'm qualified to serve as president of this institution, but I thought it was still very important to allow other people to come in to do the work as they deserve to do it. You know, as I stated, Supra, we are all students. Sometimes you want to focus on yourself and to do other things. One major reason why I did not contest, I don't regret it, is on grounds that we wanted to set precedents. And the precedents was tested. There were issues with it, but it still stands. The precedent is that, yeah, automatically I'm qualified to be to be a contestant no matter what. I could have been qualified. But this is the thing. The previous constitution we had did not give any specific qualifications or so much detailed qualifications of who to become president, what should be their qualifications. When we took over, we promised that we were going to structure the constitution in the way that anyone who reads it will understand that yes, when you are at this level, you are qualified to become a vice president. When you are at this level, you are qualified to become a president. In my capacity as a vice president, when we were structuring and we had set up a committee to do the constitution, that issue came up. When you have to structure the constitution as to where you have to get up, give them requirements. And that requirement should be a unique one, and it should be so much exact, you know. So I was called on several occasions on grounds that they wanted me to make suggestions on what requirements should be there. And I told them, continue your work, go on with your work, and make sure put requirements that will work for the student, that any meaningful person will listen to, will go on. So they included the constitutions that if you want to become a vice president or president and vice president, you must either be a semester 4 student or semester 3 student. You are aware that I've changed my institution. I was in another institution. That was my Mother University. And then that was when I contested to become vice president. And then I shifted and came to Chindigarh University. I started all over, which made me to be a first semester student. So the election was taking place when I was a second semester student. If I was power greedy enough, I would have said, guys, allow the vice president position to be like anything vacant. You know, like anybody can contest or qualify me no matter what to contest. But I told them, no, set up the standard so that people will go to the position with standard. So I had to allow my ego of becoming president to go so that we can have a structured and a well-structured constitution. So that was one major reason why I did not contest. And it's not also, yeah, so that's one major reason you can say that I did not contest, and I was happy about that decision because I wanted to see that the association is having standards. Is having standards. And that standard has been said. I will know now that I'm in my third semester now. Next semester I'll be in fourth semester, possibly. No matter what, if I want to contest, I'll be qualified. And someone who is not in the third semester or second semester, when I want to just jump on and say, you want to become vice president, I will use myself as an example. That will say that we set up precedents, you know. So that was just the basic reason. But I don't regret whoever the party chose. It was our decision. It was my decision, my recommendation that I encouraged the person because I felt they were more capable.
Yeah, Mr. Vice President, in a nutshell, you did not contest because of the criteria set by the Constitution. Constitutionally, if individual should contest for the vice president position, he or she must meet a particular criteria. So on that basis, you decide to step aside someone who meets within the criteria. You can push them and give them your support as you sit and observe the process and give your expertise to the process. We say bravo to that for that decision from my end. I say hats off to that for that decision. That was a brilliant one. Yeah, good. So we Adam, is there any questions or we ask because we are really out of time. We have gone that 1 hour.
Thank you. That was the basis on which.
Yeah, sure. So like I asked previously, what is your hope for? What do you hope for? Where do you want to see this organization? Have you turned power over to the newly elected president? what is your hope for? Where you want to see this institution? Like you struggle for, you took from the grassroots and you have given it breadth and given it values. According to you, it has its own craft constitutions. According to you, have been registered by law. According to you, it's been recognized in
Not
Liberia. So what is your hope for?
Mr. Dennis, point of correction, not according to us, because it is clear the website is showing it's on Google. You can Google it. The article of incorporation is on the is used at the profile of the WhatsApp chat. You aware of it? And all of those achievements are glaring and before you, not according to us. According to us means that you are not authenticated. But it's clear and you're aware of it, so it should not be according to.
Okay, honorable outgoing president. Okay, thank you for the corrections. Like all you have said, factor constants. What is your hope for as you turn over power, as you sit back and see the organization move? In what direction do you want the organization to go?
Maybe you want to come there first.
I want to see the organization fast forward, moving in a positive direction. We live at a point where the students have grabbed the concept of unity. We live at a point where people can relate to the president if there are issues. So we live at a point also where people think that there is an umbrella of student associations in Liberia or in India that is representing all Liberians. We want that same thing to continue and more to come. We left the advocacy hanging halfway about us having an embassy here or consulate. That is also one of my dreams, that the current leadership that is working assiduously hard to see how best that can also be achieved, be done so. We left it hanging to a point where it was announced by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs that there's going to be a passport processing center here in India. They even show us a location in New Delhi. We are hoping that the current leadership will move to those places and confirm and make sure that that place is functional, because students' documents are getting expired. Even myself, next year, my passport gets expired. I want to remain in India here and renew it. So that's where I hope and how I hope to see the association going. And I will plead with all the students who are following this podcast and the one that will follow later to kind of respect the leadership and every other person that is in government so that we can have a fruitful and a forward march association. Again, I'm super excited to have appeared on the show this evening. Thank you so much, Elijah.
Thank you so much. We will take the president, the outgoing president from there.
Okay.
And I'm going president now, former president. Listen again, I
We will take the former president. We will take the
let me
former
call him.
president.
Let's call the phone. Let me call him.
I hope the parliament member is not hearing me before they can issue me letter of contempt. Please, I beg you.
The parliament cannot issue contempt. The organization now have been decentralized. So if there's a contempt charges, it will come from the senior adjudicator, because you are in a state where the senior adjudicator presides.
Yeah, sure. I think something Kwame, let me be strict to that. I think something Kwame is a senior adjudicator for the students bodies in India.
Yeah.
Bravo to him. That's good. Let me hear you from the chief.
Okay, Elijah, when it comes to the Association of Liberian Students in India, when I hear the name Association of Liberian Students in India, from nowhere to somewhere, I want to use even my school fees. I want to use it when the organization encounter a problem. So I want to see a vibrant organization. I want to see the unity, the love, the respect the students gave my vice president and I. I want to see that same love and respect given to the current leadership. I want to see I want to see that cooperation. I want to see their unity, that reunion. I want to see it so that the legacy laid down by us, it won't die down. Because this is an institution that we inherited from Mohammed Dukwe and transformed it to be the way we are today. So we would like to see us going in the gutter. So now the vice president and I, we are not in power right now, but yet we gave our expertise on a daily basis to every committee of the organization to make sure that the organization works very well. The organization is unique. You have the board of supervisory, you have the board of adjudicators, and you have the executive, and you have the parliament. So this is how we divided the organization. Every committee has 8 functions and working. So Elijah, I'm super excited and happy to be here tonight, and I want to see ALSI beyond where we left it. Then I'm going to be super proud. And my vice president, let me speak to something shortly. Elijah, something we didn't lack in our leadership is being very egotistical. Have we been very egotistical? I had all right back then to influence the constitution to make my vice president to contest into this election now, like you asked. But our promise was to work and deliver to the students. Let us see it. And we did that. So we are not boasting of this thing, but we are proud and happy and excited and also grateful to God and also grateful to the students community for giving us this opportunity to serve. Not that we are educated more than people, more than some students, but it is a privilege given us. And we perform that task to reach this far. So once again, I'm James Tommy Promo from home country. I want to be happy to be here tonight. I want to say thank you to the panelists. I want to say thank you to our peace ambassador, Ibrahim Vadi Kamara, who is diligent and hardworking since his appointment. And I've been making move to make sure that peace be in the students' community. Mr. Vadi Kamara, I want to say thank you so much. You one person who not just have the name on you, but you want to see better ALSI. You want to see better students' community. That's the leadership you're looking for. These are people we need in the society. So, Mr. Dennett, thank you so much. Goodbye for now.
Thank you ever so much. This is how we want to take a leave. Is there anything we you expected us to ask you? We did not ask you. Can you just talk about it for at least 30 minutes? Sorry, 30 seconds.
Oh, well, I think we talked everything. Just like the president said, we are excited. Mr. Vadi Kamara, thank you so much. He's currently the peace ambassador of ALSI. We depend on you to further encourage and promote the peace. Lastly, what I want to say is that, yes, sir.
Yeah, Abraham, you are saying something. Abraham?
Okay.
Mr. Vice President.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Vice President. I think there's, yeah, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Am I
go
audible?
on.
Today my internet is giving me tough time. My internet is giving me tough today. Yeah.
We hope
Am I
you fix it
audible now?
tomorrow because tomorrow show is gonna be it's gonna be real okay. Yeah.
Yes. So basically, what is one thing you like about ELSI? What is one thing you notice about ALSI? And what is one thing that you can recommend for ALSI betterment? Just
Yeah, just do that,
Well,
in 1 minute because there is no time. We have gone
one
all
thing
of
you
time
like,
already.
one thing you notice, one thing you recommend
I like
for the
several things.
upliftment of ALSI.
I like several things about ASI. And to be specific, but the one thing he mentioned, I like the fact that our WhatsApp group chat is
Those
always
are just
active.
a
It was at
one.
3 a.m. in the morning. Yeah. It was at 3 a.m. in the morning. You find people in the ID and chatting in the WhatsApp group chat. And as they chat, you feel like, especially people from LCET, when they chatting in our group chat, you feel that when you go to LC, this is a vibe you will get when you just see them outside in the street. But when you go outside if you go, they can be like, okay, so I want to hear WhatsApp and then make people feel like this. So I think I like the WhatsApp conversation. They were always encouraging and engaging. It's engaging every time you go there are new conversations is going on. We have to take some responsibilities to make sure that some unwanted things did not come there. What I want to recommend, one thing I want to recommend is that under the association, I initiated the Clash of Ideas debate tournament, and that was one thing that made sure we brought together students in the lectures, and we sparked up most of them. They are very good. I want to recommend to the current president and leadership that even if it is not organizing it, let that continue so that the institution can have the students coming together to have regularly these kinds of exchanges. Thank you, because we don't have time.
Sure. Yeah, sure. We really don't have time. Seriously. So every good thing must. We hear you for 30 seconds, Honorable President. Just 30 seconds, please.
So
no time.
One thing I miss in ASR is when I wake up in the morning, my phone is filled with text messages and lot of complaints, text messages and lot of calls. But these days when I wake up, I receive less call and less text messages. I feel very released. However, I also miss the interaction every day. Complain, we have to go settle problem, SYZ place and here and there. I miss that interaction so much. So one thing I would recommend is this. We have this as a strong recommendation. Also, I'm not only making this recommendation here, that the issues of our mini convention and annual convention, students should take it very seriously. It brings diversity of culture from the 15 counties. So Flag Day celebration, July 26th celebration should not be held separated to all schools or universities. It should be specific and people should come together to celebrate this for acquaintance, a change of idea, make new friends. Then we divert to our various locality and so forth. So I strongly recommend this, that there should be always a joint program like we have. It should not stop. That's my recommendation.
Thank you very much. This is how we want to draw down curtains to the edition of the exchange. Wheresoever you are following us, we was in conversations with Common Manipulate Comment, the former vice president of ALSR, and the James Tormo Flomo, who is the former president of the Association of ALSR. So we want to say thank you. And whatsoever you are joining us, we want to say keep following the exchange. We'll be here again tomorrow with another fascinating discussion, with another fascinating topic. We're going to be talking to the current president of the association. So on this note, we want to say thank you. Until then, we see you again.
Baba,